today's Agent Collective Mastermind, what we talk about is something that's occurring a lot in our businesses right now, and that's cancellations. Ouch! We hate them. Our clients don't like them. But the reality is they're happening, and we've noticed that they're happening at a higher frequency right now. So listen in as the Agent Collective and I dig into the cancellations that are happening, figuring out some of the reasoning behind it, following a common thread, a common theme amongst them, and then developing some strategies to make sure our deals don't cancel moving forward. Enjoy. We've had a lot of cancellations lately, and I think in light of that trend, it's important for us as a group to talk about that. So I'm just going to open the floor. Like, what the hell's going on? Why are we having so many cancellations?
Possibly unrealistic sellers that don't want to drop their price to market value.
I wish I knew, to be honest, because I've had some big cancellations and did not see them coming.
Jolene, I know I've been a party to a lot of these discussions, but I think as a group, it's important for us to talk about this. And I don't have like the magic answer. I'm not leading us to a magic solution here. I'm just saying WTF is going on. And so maybe if we share like our cancellation stories, we can start to pull in some themes and some trends is what I'm hoping. Jolene, would you care to share a cancellation story or two from recently?
Well, my last one was a very specific neighborhood that this client is looking for. However, his financial advisor advised him to not get into the transaction because he had 3 houses. He has to sell another house and they're going on the market in 2 weeks. But I did hear back from him and he said, we'll be back in as soon as we get the house on the market. So, I'm keeping in contact with the people that have canceled, and it's always been, it's somewhat of I feel like we negotiate, but it's very close to full price or at full price. And then people get cold feet. Either the wife does or someone does. And that's all I have been experiencing.
So I heard finances is an issue, even in the multi-million-dollar range, and then cold feet, and you related cold feet to high price and I guess the buyers are really feeling like they're at the top of their comfortable price range, maybe.
Yes, the ones that go in close to ask or at ask, they seem to get in it and then cancel. Whereas then I've got the other whole crew that's, putting lower offers in and we're 20,000 apart on $1 million deal. So it's like one or the other.
All right, so sticking to high price on the seller side and the buyer just not seeing the value. Okay, cool. Did you have another cancellation recently?
I think I've had almost 4 million in cancellations lately. Yeah.
Since you're on the stage, would you mind sharing another one or two so we can kind of
the other one was my sister, and we found the perfect house. My mom was all in. So it was a family thing. And my sister let her 14-year-old daughter make the decision on moving to Arizona from Wisconsin. And now they're regretting it. And it did sell. That house I watched, and it did sell for, I think, 40,000, 50,000 less than what we were under contract for.
Okay.
Yeah. What
All right.
other, I don't remember what some of the other reasons were. I don't know, but it's so disappointing. It's just, there's not easy buyers out there. I mean, Lisa and I had a time yesterday. We weren't going to talk about it, but it was the buyer broker. These people came in hot. Like they were like, only wanted to see one property, just that one. I didn't mention, oh, we're seeing 25 others with other people, whether they be the selling agent. And they just had an attitude of, we're gonna do this alone. So I was like, why are we here? And I'd sent him the buyer broker, oh, we're gonna sign as soon as we get there. It was that whole deal. It was just, it's so hard out there. I'm just saying.
Thanks for sharing that. That I only want to see a one property is a huge red flag for me. And I actually had this same conversation, and I want to share it with you just to step away from cancellations for a second. But like I was like, well, it just doesn't make sense to me to go out and just see one property. Like, let's go see at least three. So you as a buyer can get a sense for the market. You can see what other opportunities are out there. We're already going to be in the neighborhood. And like these folks were like a hard no. And I was like, my red flag sense was going off. And I'm like, hey, tell me more about why you only want to see one property. And the answer, and it was my listing, by the way. And so I was like, well, we do not want to commit to a realtor. So that was their story. And now I'm closing with them on a sale tomorrow. But that's a huge red flag, folks. And you want to get to the bottom of that when you hear that. And in Jolene's case, yeah, go ahead, Jolene.
I said, are you sure? Like, I'd really like to show 2 or 3 so you can see. Nope, we have been looking, and, they were coming in from Michigan. We've been looking, never a mention about anything about other agents or not using an agent. And boy, when we met at the house, we had the buyer broker out there. He writes on it, only this property. The husband, she signs it, fails to initial, so we resend it. And at that time they started talking about, well, we'll just use an attorney, because we talked about, you can't use the documents because they're licensed to realtors and you go in unrepresented. Well, we're going to get a better deal that way. And then we went in and explained the whole thing, and there was just a lot of pushback, and and very cocky about it. And they'd been out since Sunday and Monday. But when I talked to them, they made no indication of seeing any other properties. That's just the only one we like. You know what I mean? And so I sent back and I said, it would have been nice for you to be transparent before, because you do not fit our business model. And it's so frustrating. We're not door openers. And that's the way they looked at us. They're like, well, why? What's your value? And Lisa went on about our value. And yeah, it was a classic moment for us with everything that we've learned lately about, holding our ground and sharing our value.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that. It's the new world we live in. And at the end of the day, folks, I think we're going to find that we're going to say no to some folks where we were just, very helpful heart, like out there hustling our butts off, right? And now we've got to be the fiduciary for our business up until those agreements are signed. And then at the point where someone has agreed to work with us, an agency is established, then we're their fiduciary. But up until that point, we have to look out for our business. Mary?
I had one, if you guys can hear me, sorry, I'm driving again to appointments. But I had one canceled this weekend. And there were multiple things. One, which surprised me, she has a dad in Turkey that is having heart issues. So she's going to be forced to fly out. And she said she didn't want to deal with a house under contract because it was an emergency situation. She was flying out. And she's very sweet. I really, really like this buyer, but she said she was flying to Turkey due to health issues. I do believe there was some underlying things as well. I didn't have a chance to talk with her because she did take off and did go to Turkey. But we had some issues with the clue report. And some things that just raised some red flags for her. So in my opinion, I do believe it was that, but I also believe it was condition. I don't believe she was sold enough on the home after getting the clue report. It was a 38,000, Monica could tell you exactly, like 38,500 in a claim due to roof tiles in a windstorm in 2022. And yet we asked for documentation on what was done during that. And they supplied us a roofer's receipt for just short of $3,000. So, they tried saying, what was a third party? They did this and, charged the insurance. So who knows? I think they may have got some extra money out of it. But so I think it worried my buyers to the true condition of the house. There were some other things too. The ACs were all 19 years old, but things like that. But I think it was that put a bad taste in her mouth. I think she didn't trust the sellers at that point or what was going on, and we could never, ever get a good answer ever on where $35,000 was.
Wow.
Because it wasn't put into the repairs.
So, I mean, maybe insurance fraud going on here. Hey, here's a
That's
bill
what we think.
for 3,000. Here's what we told the insurance company we needed, and there's a huge gap. They're gonna hose the insurance company. They're probably happy to hose the next guy that comes along to buy the house, right? Wow.
It's exactly how my buyer felt. So I do believe truly she had a dad that is having some heart issues in Turkey. I also think, and I'll have a conversation with her when she gets back, but I also believe after that, she wasn't sold enough on the house to fight for it while she was in Turkey.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Red flags and another family issue or family illness. Okay. Cool. Who else has a cancellation? Let's make a list. What's going on?
I have two.
I have. Oh,
Go ahead,
Cass.
Deandra.
Okay, mine is short. I had one that's not technically a cancellation, but they signed a listing agreement, and it was a deal Amanda and I were working on, and they just wanted to find a house before they listed it. And so we found the perfect house. It was a new build. We got them everything they wanted, but then last minute they said they didn't want to list because their monthly payment was going to be too high on the new house. So yeah, we tried to do everything we could to bring it down. We brought it as low as we could, but he said it was just too high for him, and he wanted to be able to live comfortably, and that was really the only house that fit his needs. So we're taking a pause, but that's why he canceled that listing.
Okay. What's the gap? Like, was it 3,500 and he wanted to be at 3,200, or do you know what that gap is that,
Yeah, so he initially said 2,500 was his top. He can't go higher than that, and the mortgage was going to be close to 2,900.
Okay. So maybe watching rates and kind of keeping that payment in mind and seeing if you can catch a low rate, especially since it's a new build. Maybe there's still something for him. I don't know.
Yeah, we were negotiating. We were gonna get concessions to buy it down to 4.375. But it's still, he was VA, so he wasn't even putting any money down. So the payment was too high for him. But he did say that he's not canceling forever. He's just taking a pause. And he said, of course, he's still going to use this when he's ready to go, but he still wants us to send him anything that comes that matches what he needs. So hopefully that's something that will happen eventually, but that's why he canceled right now.
Awesome. Thank you. So
It
finance
will happen.
right.
Yes, it will happen.
And wait, I heard a lot of positivity just sneak through there for a second. Amanda, will you say that again?
It will happen.
There we go. I like that.
No hoping.
It will happen. All right. Awesome. Cassie, you were chiming in on a cancellation.
Yeah, I've had two this year. One was over appraisal on the buy side. The property through inspection had some pretty significant issues, and we were able to negotiate a nice credit. But even so, the appraisal came in so low. I mean, it was, I think, 60,000 under our list price. And that property has closed for 15,000 over what we were under contract for, and didn't have the credits. They didn't need the credits. They did do some repairs. So we had a bad appraisal. That listing agent did get fired. So the moral of that story is do your appraisal packets, right? And it really should have, it was just a terrible appraisal. The second one was a lower price point, and the property just came back with so many issues that it was way too overwhelming for the buyer who just didn't have the cash to go in and I mean, the house needed to be gutted, and it was like the mechanicals, the roof was bad, the AC was bad. So she put herself on pause to save up some more money to get herself into a price point that she's feeling like the product she's going to get is more in line with what her comfort zone is for maintaining.
Okay. So appraisal issue, bad appraisal, shit, it happens, right? And then property condition, too many issues, and can't financially deal with handling all those issues. Okay. All right. Thanks, Cassie. Who else has a cancellation they want to add to the list? Okay. So, I mean, we've got finances, cold feet, family decision, sad that they missed out in the end, family illness, but really it was probably property condition or even the integrity of the seller. Finances, not able to hit the new mortgage payment, appraisal, and then property condition again, can't finance the additional repairs. So, man, do you see a thread weaving in there? Anyone want to? I see one. Anyone want to kind of call out what they're seeing or hearing here as far as maybe a common theme?
I think buyers just are skittish right now. They're already uncomfortable going in, and so when any problem rears its head, they're going to bail because they're already pushing themselves to the limit of their comforts. I also think this is a great opportunity though for when we're trying to get those buyer brokers signed, is to list off all these problems that come up that we help uncover, that someone that's unrepresented may very well never come across these things or know how to handle these things, right?
Whoa, Cassie, you just took this deep, and I really like that. So wait a minute, let's linger here for a second and think about it. So when Jolene's and Jeff's, one house buyers are like, what the hell's your value, Jeff? You could be like, well, you know what? Let me go through the cancellations that we talked about this morning with our amazing team, our amazing real estate mastermind. By the way, I mastermind with some of the top agents in the state almost every morning to make sure that we deliver maximum value to our clients. And so let's see what we've got here. So we had a number of cancellations that happened because of things that buyers didn't expect to come up. One was an appraisal came in too low. One was property condition. It just had too many issues. Not able to navigate the right mortgage to get the right mortgage payment. We had a seller that might have been involved in insurance fraud and may not have been being honest with us about what was going on, and then just some family issues that folks needed help navigating. these are all things that just came up recently that we're professionals that we help folks navigate, that we protect people from getting into bad situations. And without representation, or without representation that cares, or even worse, with some discount representation who's going to work for free or for peanuts, the folks that can afford to do that or are willing to do that typically don't know what they're doing. And so you're going to align with those folks and trust them to navigate through these situations, or even they may not even recognize these problems as they come up. That's one piece of my value. In the long run, you're going to come out farther ahead working with somebody like me that has the experience and an amazing group behind me to help you, versus trying to penny pinch and ending up with someone who's going to get you into a mess. So there's a little bit of value, right? Cool.
I
Good
did want
point.
to say something too, that we had talked about cancellations. So I know when someone cancels, we just want to move on, but you still have to put your cancellation paperwork through if you need to do that. That's not a Monica job, it's a you job. So at that moment, Monica doesn't get paid either. So make sure that you're getting all your cancellation stuff done, and not sending it to Monica.
Wait a minute. I'm not quite sure what I understood there. We get the cancellation paperwork, but we don't send it to Monica?
No, you have to.
So don't just, when you guys need stuff from me, please let me know, but I need to know verbiage. I need to know details. So don't just disappear on me. And I still upload everything, but I can't have anyone disappearing on me when things are canceling. I need communication on your deals.
You need the paperwork, right? Sent to you.
Absolutely. I need the paperwork. And title does send me things, but Shane is on top of these cancellations. So when I upload cancellation documents, he will email you within a couple of hours asking for title cancellation, and they are not that fast. So as soon as title sends the cancellation documents, it will get uploaded, but he will also email you. He doesn't even email me. So he's going to be on your ass looking for the title cancellation. So I am on it, but as soon as title sends it, it will be uploaded to the file.
Got it. So when they do cancel, stay on top of it and make sure the paperwork gets where it needs to go,
Exactly.
which is Monica.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So back to the thread, right? I think the thread, it really is what we're seeing across the market, which is the seller's unrealistic expectation of their property values, right? They checked Zillow a year and a half ago and it was up here, and they don't realize that money costs twice as much now and their value's down here. And in their mind, the property's still worth that now. And then the buyers, they're struggling. They like the property. They also saw that it was worth that a year and a half ago, right? And they're like, yeah, we really like it. And we really want to pay that, but not really. Especially once we look at our mortgage payment, you think it's here, it's priced here, but when we look at what that mortgage is going to cost us, it's actually here for us. So either we're not going to move on it, which is what's happening a lot right now, or we're gonna dip our toes in the water and give it a shot. And then if there's something that's just not perfect or not right, like insurance fraud or property condition, or geez, just a mortgage payment that's just a couple inches over what's going to work for my lifestyle right now, I'm out. Whew. So that's a delicate balance that we're navigating right now. How do we navigate that? Like, what do we do?
I think it's setting really, really clear expectations and having those sometimes kind of hard conversations up front early on so that it's not a surprise. And instead of, it's like under promise and over deliver, but it's kind of setting up the buyer. As much as we don't want to scare people away, we also don't want to go through all the work of getting them under contract, showing them all these properties, all these things, to have them cancel when reality hits.
I agree. What else? Any other ideas? You've heard me say this before, that the power of data. If you can get your buyer in at the right price with good data, are they feeling confident about where they're at? Yeah. So if you're not really digging into those comps before they offer, like you want to make that your business practice. It always should be, but it's especially important right now. And so what does that look like? It looks like, hey, we've been out looking at 8 houses the last couple weekends. We put an offer on this one, it didn't work. We put an offer on this one, it didn't work. This one, man, Jeff, we really like this one. Like, get it for us, right? And so we're gonna dig into that data. We're gonna dig hardcore into that data. Like, this is what the property's worth. Okay. And get them to commit to it and set the expectation that, by the way, this may or may not be a perfect house. There might be some things that come up on the inspection. And the way that the market's trending is, if we can get you this price, because by the way, that the sellers are way overpriced. Okay. If we can get you this price, then expect, with how much the seller is coming down, that they're not going to really fix anything. So you need to have a little budget in mind when you do close to take care of some things. Are you okay with that at this price? So expectation setting, data, and then now what's our problem in this scenario? Then we have to present a low offer. Okay, but hey, you know what? If the price is up high and you can get the buyer in at a more moderate price, are they feeling pretty confident that they're getting a good deal? Maybe. I mean, maybe there's some psychology there too, because you've used the data to present the solid offer. And then you're looking at the situation, and it's like, hey, this seller's been on market for a really long time. Well, I wonder why. They're way overpriced. Way overpriced. Okay. So now my second job with the data is to present it to the listing agent in a way that they're going to present it to their sellers effectively. And what that doesn't look like is, hey, Deandra, I noticed you really overpriced this listing. I mean, who in their right mind would have priced this piece of junk at this price? Like, come on, what happened there? Like, no, like you don't want to like question people's intelligence. You don't want to question their processes, not in a negative way, but one thing you can ask is, hey, how'd you come up with this price? Just very blatantly, not sarcastically, not anyway, just matter of fact. Hey, how'd you come up with this price? And if it's really overpriced, then it's going to be, well, it's what the seller wanted. It's what they paid for a year and a half ago, and they would like to get their money back. Like, that's what I've heard a lot of lately. Okay. And then my next follow-up question is, hey, have you looked at the comps in the neighborhood? Well, not recently. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna send you over an offer. And in the offer, I'm also going to present the comps at what properties are trading for. So, when we're thinking appraisal and what the buyers are out there seeing, they really like this house and they'd like to buy it. The only, trouble that they're having is that the list price is no longer in alignment with the market value for this property. So, I'd like you to take a look at it. If you can find some other comps in the neighborhood that are more indicative of your price, I would love to see them, and I will present them to my buyers. But this is what I found, and this is the rationale behind our offer. So I hope your sellers take a serious look at it, and looking forward to working with you. So that So data step number 2, right? Now, again, I'm not being a real estate bully and be like, this is the price because these are the comps. I'm not. Say, hey, here's what I found. Here's the reasoning behind our offer. If you have some data that shows your price or something different, I would love to see it. And you know what? I've had some situations where they come back and they present ridiculous data, or they can't present any data at all. And so it's a conversation, but at least it's founded in more than just opinions and emotions. And if we can avoid opinions and emotions in a real estate transaction, it really takes us a long way.
I do that pretty much regularly when I have a property I'm going to write an offer on. I call the agent probably every time in the last 10 years. I'll be like, hey, we just can't justify the price. Can you shoot me over your comps that you used to come to this price? And you'll get A, absolutely, I'll send them right over. B, well, let me talk to you for a minute. This is why they're this. I know it's overpriced. So then you get it, and then you get they'll be like, oh, I'll send over comps. You get them and it's a 2-story home and they're sending you all 1-stories that are on the golf course. And you're like, wait a minute. So then I'll end up calling the agent back and like, hey, an appraiser, and then just kind of talk to them that way. But it helps. It helps a lot when you really talk to the other agents.
And the other, it's interesting that on the listing we also had a data issue with the appraisal too low, right? Had that listing agent, who sounds like got fired after that, done their job and delivered relevant data to that appraiser in the form of an appraiser package left on the front counter, the kitchen counter, and said, hey, appraiser comps, here's how we all agreed on value, right? And that data did not get presented, which was a huge reason that deal probably fell through as well. So we have a secret weapon, data, right? And making sure that we understand it, that our clients understand it, and that we also have solid strategy to educate the other parties, which, I mean, like Veronica's example, where maybe the green agent, they don't know how to run comps. You got a 2-story sitting out on Riggs Road, and the comps that they're using are the single stories on the golf course in the middle of the neighborhood. Like, there's a lot of problems with that. Like, we're not talking apples to apples here, and so maybe approaching that in a helpful educational mindset and say, hey, these comps are not aligning because of a few of these reasons. Here's some data of houses that look a lot more like your listing, and this is the reasoning behind our offer. And yeah, what a great discussion on cancellations today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you got some great value from it, and I hope that, hey, if you've had a cancellation, that it gave you a moment to reflect and compare as to what else is going on in the business with other agents. But hopefully what you are armed with now are the tools to not have your deals canceling moving forward. And you have a better understanding of how to set the right expectations, to leverage data more powerfully, and to make sure that your deals don't cancel. If you would love to be part of our mastermind, we'd love to have you. So I want to extend an invitation to you to please join us. Step into the conversation in real time. We do this a couple days a week, and we'd love to have you as part of our group. There's some information in the link below, and yeah, just set up a time. Let's talk. All right, Jeff Adams, Agent Collective. Thank you so much. Let's be the best that we can be.